Tonight at Tropicana Field, the opening homestand of the 2013 season continues. The Cleveland Indians come calling as the Rays play host to the Cleveland Club in the first of a three-game series. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Statz. Good to have you looking in. We'll be hearing from Todd Callis and Kelly Nash throughout the evening. Well, the Rays have dropped 2 out of 3. This Cleveland club winning 2 out of 3 to start the season, and so tonight they square off. You know, Andrew Friedman had said earlier this spring that Ben Zobrist, his value difficult to quantify because of his versatility, but one thing about his game's crystal clear, his offense and how valuable that is.
Absolutely, and he's gotten off to a quick start here in 2013. Of course, Ben Zobrist, switch hitter, and he's getting it done from both sides. See this using the middle of the field, that's always a good sign for a hitter. Ben, on the season, obviously 5 for 11. He's hit safely in all 3 games. Again, 2 for 4, right-handed, 3 out of 7 left-handed, and he just continues to hit the baseball, line drive, gap power. He'll occasionally pop one out, but he keeps his barrel. You know, that's the thing that gives him a chance on a pitch like that. He keeps his barrel in the zone for such a long time that even when he's a little bit out in front, he can flip a ball into center field like that, and that's one aspect of the game. Of course, you know, defensively, he's very valuable too, but Ben Zobrist getting it done here in the early going.
Yeah, well, Brian, you know, this Cleveland club, no team in the AL Central has held first place more days over the last 2 years than this Cleveland club. But the second half was a colossal disappointment for this team last year. As a result, a whole panel of new faces.
Complete overhaul, really, and it starts with the manager. Terry Francona comes in to take over this ball club, and then all of a sudden, Nick Swisher, they bring him in on a big free agent deal. Michael Bourne, they signed him right before spring training, big free agent deal. Mark Reynolds, of course, remember him from Baltimore, big free swinger, home run power threat. Trevor Bauer, who was acquired in the Shin-Soo Choo trade from Arizona, he's going to be starting tomorrow night. I mean, they have a whole host of new faces. You talked about their starting lineup tonight. 5 of the 9 guys were not on the ball club last year, and this is a much improved, much more dangerous team, both offensively and defensively.
Michael Bourne coming over from the National League, most recently with the Atlanta Braves. He's a guy who plays a Gold Glove center field and has a couple of stolen base crowns coming over from the other league. On the hill tonight for the Rays, it will be Matt Moore. He's trying to get off to a good start. Pitched well the final spring tune-up against the Detroit Tigers. We'll have more in a moment.
ready for Game 4 of the 2013 season. Rays and the Indians opening up a weekend series with Matt Moore on the mound. And Joe Maddon is hoping that Matt Moore can approach that 200 inning, maybe exceed that 200 inning plateau this year. When you break down his innings pitch and his starts last year, April through September, you'll see a little bit slow in the beginning with 25 innings pitched, and then a really low number in September when Joe had a little shorter leash on Matt as the Rays made a push for the playoffs. But overall, what's Matt Moore looking for in 2013? Let's find out.
Our mindset going into the season is 200 innings, that benchmark, not just 200, but we want to exceed that for sure.
I just want to see his fastball going where he wants it to go more than anything. I believe if his fastball command shows up, he's going to have a really good season. Expectations are just that.
So far, all three Rays starters have gone at least 6 innings, the last 2 pitching into the 7th. They're hoping Matt Moore can continue that streak as we get you ready for baseball on this Friday. 3 minutes from the first pitch. Zach McAllister against Matt Moore. Enjoy all the action with Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson next.
In his rookie campaign, winning 11 games. Tonight, he begins his sophomore season, filled with promise and high expectations. For the visiting Cleveland Indians, 2013 brings new hope with a revamped lineup and a new skipper. It's time for baseball. The Rays and the Indians open a 3-game set on Sun Sports. Rays and the Indians battling it out, beginning a 3-game series tonight. Joe Maddon sending the young left-hander Matt Moore to the hill against this Cleveland club. And Michael Bourne, one of the new faces in an Indians uniform, leads it off. First pitch is a strike over the outside edge. The first pitch presented by Pitch a Penny. 1-1. Bourne, a guy you want to keep off the bases. Off to a pretty good start in the Cleveland series up in Toronto against the Blue Jays. Moore squares the count at 2-2. Bourne with 42 stolen bases last year for the Braves. His career high 61 in 2009 with Houston. And the count is full.
He brings that element of elite speed to the top of this Indians order. They also have speed throughout, really. Michael Brantley in the middle's got good speed. Drew Stubbs down at the bottom of the order can run.
Yeah, it's an interesting lineup as doing tonight. Ground ball short. Not an easy play. Escobar's throw just not in time. The great speed of Michael Bourne negated the out there on a fine pickup and throw by Escobar.
Well, when you force that left or the shortstop Escobar to move to his right, moving away from first base with Bourne's speed, no chance.
Quick look at the remainder of the lineup for the Indians. Bourne leading off, followed by Asdrubal Cabrera, and then Jason Kipnis. That's Nick Swisher hitting cleanup. Brantley, then Santana. Mark Reynolds, the DH. Mike Aviles is down at third, and Drew Stubbs hits ninth and plays right field. So speed at first for Cabrera, who hits from the right side. There's a strike.
This is a nice play by Escobar, but again, moving away from first base, having to throw back across the body, and it was a strong throw, just too much speed from Michael Bourne.
And the bunt. Moore will go to first out there. Bourne moves into scoring position at second. Loney to take the throw at first base.
Let's take a look at the scouting report on Matt Moore. Brought to you by
Southern Area Ford dealers. Inside out. We talk a lot about his fastball command, and the way you want to tell guys, especially Matt Moore, who's got a straight, true fastball, is work from the inside of the plate out. Maybe for strike one, you try to hit the outer half. Get that, move out to the outer third, then go to the outside corner. That's one way to get him honed in on the plate, and a quick start, something that he has made a priority along with the rest of the Rays.
First pitch strike into Jason Kipnis. Kipnis drove in 76 runs last year. He got hot early and then faded in the second half. Back into straightaway center. Jennings, a long run to the wall. He got it. Jennings, a great grab at the wall. The tag, and Bourne advances to third. Boy, he kept going straight back as that ball had great carry.
Well, Kipnis got into that ball pretty good. Tremendous lift.
Powerful swing, but Desmond Jennings never takes his eye off the ball. Makes a nice catch, and then you better get it in a hurry, because Michael Bourne, who had tagged up, had an idea of maybe heading to the plate, but a tremendous play by Jennings to get to that ball.
That's just a great, solid play out of Desmond Jennings.
And you're going to see that all season long. We talk about his speed, but his jumps, it's a very good outfield.
Nick Swisher. One ball, no strikes. Swisher, big offseason sign for the Cleveland Indians. This one is down 2-0. You know, that fly ball that Jennings made that great catch on, with Bourne at second base, there's always the thought that he might try to take two bases.
Right, and you've got the deepest part of the field, 404 out there. Jennings has to jump into the wall, and Michael Bourne tagged up and was not going to be satisfied with just getting to third. He was thinking home, had to be held up, actually. He took the round at third base with the idea of maybe trying to steal a run there.
(3-0) the count to Swisher. He's swinging. 3-0 and lifts one toward left. It's Sam Fold, and Sam puts it away. Man left at third. Rays coming in to hit in the bottom of the first. No score. The first inning. We'll have Desmond Jennings to lead off. We're followed by Sam Pold and Ben Zobrist again hitting third in front of Evan Longoria in the cleanup spot. The DH tonight is Matt Joyce. Escobar follows, then Loney. Jose Lobaton will do the catching, and Kelly Johnson at second base, bats ninth.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Cleveland Indians, right-hander Zach McAllister. 22 starts made a season ago, 6-8 record, 4.24 earned run average. Had 2 starts against the Rays, spanning 11 2/3 innings, gave up just 1 earned run.
Desmond goes after the first pitch, sends a fly ball toward left center. Room for Michael Bourne, the center fielder, who's got it. 1 pitch and 1 out.
Well, let's take a look at the Cleveland Indian defense as it lines up tonight. In the outfield, left to right, Michael Brantley, Michael Bourne, and Drew Stubbs. Across the infield, third to first, Mike Aviles, Asdrubal Cabrera, Jason Kipnis, and Nick Swisher. Carlos Santana will be behind the plate.
Sam Pohl looking for his first hit. 0 for 6 so far, and he takes a strike. It's 1-1.
Zach McAllister, 6 feet 6 inches tall, is not going to blow you away with his stuff. Got a sneaky fastball, pretty good run on it. Saw the curveball.
Ground ball. Cabrera handles that. Bold is the second out. They got him from the Yankees in August of 2010 in a deal that saw Austin Kearns go to New York, and the Indians got a young pitching prospect, and here he is making the start. See his numbers against the Rays coming off those 2 starts last year.
Got the win here at Tropicana Field, middle of July, when 6 innings, gave up that 1 earned run.
Zobrist fouls it. It's a strike. Ben, 5 out of 11 to start the year.
Yeah, Ben has gotten off to a nice start, and he's doing once again from both sides of the plate. He's hit in each game. Got that home run he got in the opener. He's driven in 4, scored a couple.
The roller to second. Kipnis takes care of that, and it's a quick 1-2-3 for the Cleveland right-hander. No score through 1.
scoreless. And let's take a quick look at the Rays defense and set that for you before Matt Moore gets underway. Yeah, field left to right, Sam Full, Desmond Jennings, and Ben Zobrist across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Yanel Escobar, Kelly Johnson, and James Loney. Jose Lobatone will be behind the plate.
Michael Brantley, the left fielder, leads it off. The strike. Santana next, and then Reynolds. Indians finished last year 68-94, and in games started by a lefty. They were 18-35. So they've overhauled their lineup. And Terry Francona with a 4-year deal in his back pocket, the manager. Matt Moore from a year ago.
31 starts, 177 in the third innings. Right along the same line with Jeremy Hellickson in the innings. Both of them looking to take that number up close to 200 and over.
Goes to 2-2.
That's the other thing too. You know, we talked about wanting a quick start. You know, Matt Moore himself said, "I'm tired of the, being referred to as a slow starter." First 2 months of the season last year, he was 1-5 with a 4.76 earned run average. Looking to get out of the gate a little bit quicker this year.
You know, the numbers do bear that point out in the minor leagues as well as the big leagues. In his combined minor and major league pro career, in April and May, his earned run average is over 4.5. So he would certainly like to put all that behind him. Number one, you just get tired of hearing about it.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's the case with Matt. And of course, you go into off seasons thinking, how can I make myself better? Where are my weaknesses? And that's one that he's identified, and we'll see how it works out.
Brantley off to a quick start. The Cleveland Ball Club, the Indians averaging 5 runs a game. The Rays coming out of the Baltimore series averaging 5 runs a game, but it was tough to stop the Orioles, and the Orioles have beaten the Twins tonight 9-5 in Baltimore, and another home run for Chris Davis, a grand slam, and he had 5 runs batted in that game. So what we saw Chris Davis doing here, he has carried that right back into that series against Minnesota in Baltimore. He has 16 runs batted in already.
4 games.
Yeah, that puts him on a pace for what, like 684 runs batted in, something like that. And there's strike 3, a wave and a miss. Brantley out of there. Take a look at what Matt did last year in April and May, and then the rest of the way.
Well, there you go, 1-5 with the 4.76. But how about the calendar flips into June? 10-6, 3.36. That stretch, Dwayne, that you referenced yesterday, where he went 9-2.
Yep.
He's capable of getting on a run and sustaining it for a long period of time.
He faces Carlos Santana. There's a strike. The BA, you know how difficult it is as a starting pitcher to be consistent every time you go out there. It's humanly impossible, with very rare exceptions.
Absolutely right, and I think that's why this is a really good changeup here by Matt Moore, and everything from Matt Moore comes off of that fastball command. He's had pretty good fastball command here through the first 5 or so hitters of the game, but that was a tremendous changeup. And going back to your point, Dwayne, I think that's why it makes it so impressive what David Price did on opening day, because he didn't have his normal command, and he really didn't have his normal David Price stuff. It just was one of those games where you're going to have to struggle through, and a lot of guys, lesser pitchers, don't go out 6 innings and 2 runs.
Escobar handles that. Santana's the second out. Yeah, you're right. You know, David Price, we've had the opportunity to watch him over the last 2 or 3 years really develop into a premier major league pitcher, and we saw that opening day. That's what the really great pitchers do. It's one thing when all your pitches are working and everything's in sync and you're just moving right along, but it's to be competitive and as good as he was the other day when all of those things weren't happening for him.
Hey, there are a lot of big league pitchers that could be in sync and everything is working for them, and they go out and give up 2 runs in 6 innings, and that's a very good day for them.
Yep.
David Price is able to do that when, you know, he would probably tell you, look, I didn't have much of anything that I count on a game-to-game basis, but yet still managed to battle for his team, give him a chance to win. Actually left that game with a lead.
And he's going to pick up that Cy Young Award prior to the game tomorrow. 2-1 to Mark Reynolds. And boy, did he ever deserve it. What a wonderful year. It's great to see all of that hard work to go with that talent come together and pay off the way it did. Big cut by Reynolds. Here's a guy who just opens that top button and lets it go.
I love watching this guy play. Like when the Rays have success against him. But yeah, there's no bones about what he's going to try and do. He goes up there. He's got one idea, and that's to drive the baseball with authority.
And people who are around him like him.
Yeah.
I'd say he's just a great guy to have on a club.
Well, you could even see when we were watching batting practice today, he was having a blast, hitting blasts in batting practice with his teammates. Seems like a very likable guy.
Loney with a toss to Moore. 1, 2, 3 go the Indians. Rays come in to hit in the home half of the second. Evan Longoria to lead it off. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by the Tampa Bay Times, the official newspaper of the Rays and their fans. This is Evan Longoria. Evan 5 of 12 to start the year. Misses wide. 2-0. McAllister from Central Illinois, not too far from Peoria, where he grew up as a big fan of Jim Thome. And why not? Thome out of Peoria.
Longtime Indian, productive. Look at his career numbers. Pretty amazing.
Here's the other thing about McAllister. His dad has been a scout for a long time. And as a kid, he spent a lot of time with his dad when he would scout in those small minor league parks. So he's been around the game for a long time, and from the time he was just a young boy, got a real feel for the game.
Yeah, and father as a scout picking up tidbits on what to look for.
And Longoria's out on strikes. First strikeout from McAllister.
Longoria looking for that fastball. Comes up empty. We talked about McAllister not going to overpower you, but the ball just jumps right there. He was able to get that up above the swing of Evan. Yeah, you spend time around the ballpark like that with a professional scout, you start to learn nuances of players, what to look for. Can only help you when you're out there on the mound trying to read a hitter and his swing and his approach.
Matt Joyce takes it wide. Matt with that walk-off home run. One of his 2 hits, the other one the bunt. You heard from a lot of his friends after coming into that game, putting down the bunt and then the blast that won it.
Yeah, not bad for, what, 3 innings? Just over 2 innings. Comes in the bottom of the 7th and ends it right at the beginning of the bottom of the 9th.
Skies it to left. It's Brantley. 2 gone.
Well, in tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus will donate $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports.
Fidel Escobar. McAllister's retired the first 5 men to face him. Escobar with 2 hits and 10 at-bats so far for the year. Moves him back a little bit. Cabrera takes care of that. The Rays are up and down. 1, 2, 3. Escobar grounds out. No score through 2.
More on the mound tonight. David Price, opening day starter, will start again on Sunday. Sometimes people forget Matt Moore begins the year at age 23. When you look at where David Price was at this exact age, both had postseason experience. Price out of the bullpen, Matt Moore with that start in Texas. But look at how many more starts at the big league level for Matt Moore. Moore already has one season under his belt, where at the same age, Price was just getting his rookie year underway, guys.
All right. Well, that's a great perspective there. Just to kind of give you an idea, Matt Moore under fire early here. First pitch to Mike Avila's in for a strike to start the third. 1-1. Well, Avila's in the offseason originally traded from the Red Sox to the Blue Jays for John Farrell, the current Red Sox manager. And then eventually wound up here with the Indians for Ismael Rogers, the right-handed pitcher.
Look at what the Indians brought in this offseason, how active they were. And I think if it wasn't for what the Toronto Blue Jays did with their big splashy moves, kind of slid what the Indians did under the rug. Completely remade this team, and Aviles works the walk there.
Moore gives up a leadoff pass. Yeah, it's a new look for this club. And they were, you know, in 2011, they finished second in the division. They were 2 games under 500, but they had a good run early then, and even last year, and then things pretty much collapsed on them, and they went 18-45 in their last 63 games last year. They were only 5-24 in August. Pitch up, and a visit by Lobaton out to Matt Moore now, and he missed, as he does, up and away sometimes to right-handed hitters.
And that's a nice move by Lobaton to go out there and talk to Matt Moore. Maybe Jose sitting back there sees something, doesn't want to let this inning get out of hand as far as lack of command. So you just go out there and say, hey, remember, you know, go over the keys, try to get Matt Moore back in line.
That's a strike.
Yeah, whatever he said worked. He's throwing a couple of those nice low-riding fastballs.
You're experienced that way. There are times when every pitcher is going to get a little out of kilter, and we've seen Moore and see him miss, you know, arm side there a lot. There's a strike. So, did you have reminders?
Oh, you absolutely. I mean, you have probably each pitcher has 2 or 3 different keys that if things start to go south, because you've got to be your own pitching coach out there. You can't rely on a Jose Lobaton or a catcher to come out every couple of pitches. Nice curveball there. And obviously the pitching coach can't come out there.
Well, that's a nice job right there. He walked the village and then missed up and away to Stubbs, and then right back with 3 nice pitches.
And right after Jose goes out there, whatever he said to him got him back on track. Able to close him out here with the curveball. But yeah, you start going through that mental checklist and say, okay, are my hands in the right spot? Am I stepping, you know, too far going back? You just start crossing them off, and you've got to be your own coach out there.
Ward takes the ball,
and each guy's different. Some guys it may be a mechanical thing, or where my hands are, where my foot's going to go. Some pitchers, it's a feel thing. Well, when I'm going good, I feel this.
Base hit into right. Zobrist will try to cut it off. Digging for third, Aviles. Mills will hold him on the Bourne 2-base hit. And the Indians threaten second and third with only 1 out.
Well, Michael Bourne, his ball gets in on him a little bit. They're trying to go away, but it leaks back across the plate, and Bourne, quick with the hands, is able to flip this ball into right field. And again, with his speed, he's going to get to second. The only question was Aviles going to have a shot at scoring? He has ideas of it. Not going to happen. Hold him up here with just 1 out. Now the Indians with runners at second and third.
Well, here's Asdrubal Cabrera. He bunted his first time, up with a couple men in scoring position this time.
There's a Nice fastball there by Matt Moore. Looked pretty good. You know, that's one of the other things that makes Bourne dangerous. Is you remember the first at bat, he got the infield hit by taking a ball away from him and hitting it the other way. Also able to turn. Pitch him carefully.
1-1. Yeah, he's stronger than he was when he first came up. He had 9 home runs last year over the National League, and there was a time when if he hit a home run, it was a surprise. And to third, and now they'll have the runner hung up. Avila's caught in the rundown. He's tagged out. Now throw back to second, and Bourne just got back in. Boy, they almost got him as well. Escobar's throw to Johnson made it very close at second. So the Rays get Avila's in the rundown for out number 2.
Boy, it looked like Mike Avila's had a little brain cramp right here. There's no way. Unless they were going on contact, but that was an easy play for Evan Longoria. And then right here, the tag, and Escobar got to throw back across his body a little bit. Michael Bourne able to just get in under the tag. Boy, what that ground ball right there, huge benefit for the Rays with Avila's breaking towards home.
Here's Kipnis. And the first pitch strike, breaking ball. Bourne at second, Cabrera at first. 2 outs now. Moore up in the count.
Kipnis completely fooled on that curveball by Matt Moore. I'll tell you what, that ball had some bite to it. Right to the dirt, but Kipnis could not stop the swing.
A piece of that one fouled it.
That's always dangerous. You know, when you throw your A+ off-speed pitch and you threw a good curveball there to get that swing, you want to come back with it because you saw, okay, that swing was not very good, I've got him fooled. But boy, oh boy, he left that one right out over the plate. Kipnis had a really good swing at it. Fortunately, it was just a foul ball.
Wide this time, off the plate a bit. It squares it at 2-2. He got him there. Kipnis strikes out. Off speed got him. 2 men left. No score. brought to you by H.H. Gregg. James Loney will open the bottom of inning 3 for the Rays. They're facing Zach McAllister, 25-year-old right-hander. McAllister made 22 starts last year in the big leagues. He was 6-8 for the Indians with a 4.24. Pitched at their AAA club Columbus. Made 11 starts there with a 2.98. The Indians pitching coach formerly pitched for the Rays and in the Rays system, Mickey Callaway. 1-1. And one of the things that McAllister changed a little bit coming over, there's Mickey, was a little more of a leg kick and a little more of a body turn. And that goes back to Joe Coleman, who coached in the Rays system for a long time. And Callaway had a lot of exposure to him.
Well, you can see his motion. He's already abbreviated a little bit of a slight turn towards third base. And it allows him, look at just one little step back, pick that leg up, and go right to work. Really cuts down. You know, he's 6'6", so you have a tendency with a lot of moving parts because when you're that tall, obviously arms are longer, legs, you know, you're a big, tall guy, so there's a lot that can go wrong mechanically. And he's really simplified it. He's already half turn, quick step back, leg goes right up. Simple.
2-2 the count.
That's what has allowed him to have a repeatable delivery, and that's why his command, for the most part, is very, very good.
Loney toward left center with some slice, but Bourne is there and runs it down. The Gold Glove center fielder using his speed takes care of that.
Well, and you know what? You're going to see an awful lot of that from the Indians this year. Think about their outfield now with the addition of Michael Bourne and Drew Stubbs. There's Michael Bourne tracking this ball down into left center field. But you've got speed to burn out there at all 3 positions. Brantley in left, Bourne in center, Stubbs in right. They can cover an awful lot of ground.
Yeah, Stubbs is one of those guys who, with a little higher profile, will get more recognition as a defender. You know, he's still recognized by managers and coaches as an outstanding potential Gold Glove outfielder. Ed Bourne has already won a couple of Gold Gloves. Stubbs in right. Lobitone pulls it toward the corner. That's going to be a fair ball. And one hop into the stands for a 2-base hit. Jose Lobitone picks up the first hit for the Rays, pulling a double up the right field line.
Jose Lobitone got out and around that offering by McAllister and is able to just keep it fair. That was the only question. Perfect trajectory right off the foul line out there.
Ground rule double.
Kelly Johnson gets a chance to put the Rays out in front. The ball gets by Santana, pitch down and in, breaking ball, and Lobitone goes to third.
Breaking ball there by McAllister, and Carlos Santana never got his glove flipped around to be able to block that ball. Watch the glove. That is not how you block. That thing should flip over just like an infielder, and you go down and try to block that. It never did. It's able to get underneath it. Now the Rays have a real shot. The Indians will bring the infield in.
Wild pitch charge. There's a foul ball. 1-1. Yeah, it's tough to backhand. Tough to backhand a ball with a fielder's glove, much less with a catcher's mitt.
And it's a breaking ball moving down towards the ground. You can't get into a worse circumstance.
Two-1.
Well, that comes back to anticipation. You know, catchers, when they call those breaking pitches, you've got to anticipate that there's a chance this ball could bounce. At the very minimum, be down in the zone. That's where you want it. You've got to be ready for that potential.
Johnson fouls the fastball back.
Johnson here with 2 strikes. Just looking to play pepper with the outfield. Cut down the swing a little bit. Try to put the ball in play. Runner at third. Just 1 out.
And a high popper into short right. Stubbs is there. And a tag, but the throw will keep Lobaton at third base.
Well, and right there, that's just a fundamental play there by Zach McAllister. Not going to win any awards for it, but that's why in those circumstances, when you're a pitcher out on the mound, that's why you have to back up home plate, because probably Lobaton's not going to go right there, but Stubbs went ahead and threw it, and it took a short hop to Santana, and that's got the potential to get by him. And if McAllister's not backing it up, Ray's going to run right there. Good, solid, fundamental baseman.
Well, here's Desmond Jennings. Jennings did have a double in one of the 2 starts McAllister made against the Rays last year. He gave up 4 runs in one of those starts, but they were all unearned. 1-0 the count to Desmond. This time Santana in front of that pitch, low and away.
Well, this is the one area that Zach McAllister struggled with last year, and that was the second time through the lineup. When you look at his breakout, first time through the lineup, the average against him was 199. Second time through, he was up over 320. Hitter's a little bit quicker to make the adjustment.
Fastball. That one got in there around 93. And that's about his high watermark there. He pitches around 91.
And when he's able to bring it up in the zone like he did right there, that ball has a tendency to jump on you, because remember, only 93, but still coming from a 6'6" frame. Got that long reach.
It evens the count, a foul ball. Indians have left 3 men on through the first 3. The Rays with their first base runner and their first scoring opportunity. It's going to take something with 2 outs to get the job done here if the Rays are to score first. Fly ball lifted. DeBourne in center. And the Rays leave Lobaton at third. We go to the 4th. Indians nothing, Rays nothing. And the Indians. Right now, let's check in with Kelly Nash. Kelly, what's up?
A reminder, fans, I am on Twitter managing the account at Sun Sports Rays. And our Twitter question of the night, we want to know, how many wins will the southpaw Matt Moore take home this season? Tweet us hashtag TB1 for 15 or more, TB2 for 13 or 14, TB3 for 11 or 12, and TB4 for 10 or fewer.
Well, he was 11 and 11 a year ago. And the Rays looking for continued progress.
Did you notice there, Kelly, sharp as attack?
Yes.
The 10 or less, she took it right to 10 or fewer, the correct way.
That's right.
And I learned that the hard way a couple of years back. I still have the book, by the way.
That's the one piece of mail that you opened, right?
Yes. I kind of regretted it after the fact. It was a children's book teaching me how to talk.
1-1 to count the next switcher. Yeah.
But I keep it on my nightstand, Dwayne, just to keep me humble.
There you go. Well, so that's impressive.
It is.
You pick that up,
yeah.
Kelly, because it really should be fewer.
Hashtag
less
fewer.
Having to do with quantity,
right?
Volume,
right?
And fewer numbers. Long foul ball. It's out of play. 2-2. Just another reason to tune in here. You never know what you might hear or learn. We're not going to guarantee that it'll always be correct, but we'll tell it to you just to try to convince you that it is. 2-2 the count to Swisher. Brantley next, and then Santana.
I found, Dwayne, that if you say something with enough conviction, people will buy it. Okay. Sell it. It's all about selling it. That's all it is.
Moment of silence. 2-2 the count. And he got him. Wave and a miss. Third strikeout for Matt Moore tonight.
I'll tell you what, Matt Moore, outside of one hitter, has been extremely sharp. Good low riding fastball. He's thrown a number of them. Some curveballs. Get this one. Santana beating it into the ground, taking advantage of that stellar Rays defense. There's a big strikeout there on Stubbs, but he just continues to work the changeup. This is a nice curveball to Swisher. Down to the zone. You can see Nick right over the top of it.
So here's Brantley taking one inside. And the curveball's been in play tonight. That's been a nice pitch for him.
His secondary pitches really flow off that fastball, and he's had command of it. All of a sudden, the curveball's going to be there. The changeup will be there.
Well, you get down to his strikeouts. That first one was on the fastball, and the three since then: curveball, changeup, curveball. Behind Brantley, 2-0. We talked about Hellickson in his first start, trying to run a lower pitch count, be more efficient. They'd certainly love to see, with time, Moore be able to do the same thing.
Well, this is where he's going to have to manage himself. We talked about being your own coach out there. You know, we'll see that a lot from Matt Moore. Well, he'll get on a nice string of 4 or 5 hitters in a row, and then all of a sudden he'll have one guy that comes up and he'll just walk him on 4 pitches, and then there's that tendency where it can start to snowball on you. He was able to stop it last time, and that's going to be the key for him, is to nip this in the bud right now.
Carlos Santana with Brantley at first. This Cleveland lineup's going to be an interesting lineup because it has a number of components. It has some power in it. It has some speed. Also has some strikeouts in this lineup. When you look at Swisher and Reynolds, Stubbs, they're going to strike out. But they have speed. There's the first pitch strike to Santana.
I like the way that Terry Francona has this lineup structured, where you have speed at the top with Bourne, speed in the middle with Brantley, speed at the bottom of the order with Stubbs, and then he sprinkles in 3 switch hitters. So you just create matchup nightmares for opposing managers. You got Cabrera switch hitting out of the 2-hole. Of course, Nick Swisher in the cleanup spot. This Rubel Cabrera. Santana here.
2 balls and a strike. He missed with a fastball. One on, one out. Away again. A 3-1 count. He walked Brantley on 4 pitches, and now he's behind Carlos Santana.
And Santana, not an easy hitter to walk. Free swinger up there.
That's pulled foul outside of third.
That's what got Carlos Santana into a little bit of trouble last year. His swing was so big that he became very easy to pitch to. So he only had one thing in mind. That swing had a tendency to get a little bit too long.
And off the end of the bat, a number to first. Loney's going to go back to first after looking at second, and no play on Brantley. So he had time to get back there and get Santana. Brantley moves into second with 2 outs.
Now Loney, in the worst way, wanted to get that lead runner at second base. That ball just was not hit hard enough.
Yeah, he was doing a lot of wishing there.
Yes, he was. Wished himself right into a close play at first.
He did. Well, you know, part of that thinking has to be if they can get the out at second, they've got a chance with Santana going down the line to double him up. But you don't want to mess that up and have everybody be safe. Now Reynolds. High pop. That's straight back and will wind up in the upper deck. Strike 1. Reynolds has averaged 30 home runs in the last 6 years in the big leagues. Oh, 2 outs, a man in scoring position. See the Rays coming out of that Baltimore series allowing 14 runs with 2 outs. And that's category you'd love to be on the bottom. The Rays last year overall were close to the bottom of that and not leading in any way. They gave up 14 2-out runs in the series against the Orioles.
That just shows you that you have to finish. You get those 2 outs and cannot have a mental lapse. You also were dealing with Chris Davis too. It's just been otherworldly this first couple days of the season.
We mentioned that before. He hit a grand slam tonight as the Orioles beat Minnesota 9-5, and he finished the game with 5 runs batted in. So this is another 20-pitch inning for Moore back-to-back now. Runner takes off and a wave and a miss. Reynolds strikes out. Off speed got him. Bottom of the 4th coming up. No score.
Indians and the Rays. Well, the Rays are ready for another exciting season in 2013. You can experience it with Rays season tickets to get the best seats, biggest savings, and exclusive benefits throughout the year. There are a variety of plans to choose from with flexible payment options available.
Rays coming into bat in the bottom of the fourth, sending Sam Fuld to lead off against Zach McAllister. The Indians have left 4 men. The Rays left Lobaton at third in the third. Sam will try to get something started with Zobrist and Longoria due to follow him. Sam shortens on the bat, takes the pitch for a strike.
That's that element that Sam Fuld brings with his speed.
Puts him down in the count for breaking ball, taken for a strike.
A lot of these left-handed hitters who are very good bunters and have good speed with less than 2 strikes.
Down the middle and into center field. Base hit for Fuld.
That was a nice job by Sam Fuld, being down in the count, 2 strikes, and going right back up the middle. Get that leadoff runner aboard. Good speed. The heart of the order coming up. That ball was just elevated enough. Goes off the plate to get it.
So Sam gets his first hit of the year, and it leads off the inning in front of some hot bats. Grounded to the second baseman Kipnis his first time. There's a strike.
This is where Joe Madden has options. Sam Fuld can run. Last year in 125 innings of work, McAllister gave up 18 stolen bases in 19 attempts. They also have the big bats behind him.
Pitch down and in, and Santana comes up with it.
These are the kind of pitchers too that you can start to think about maybe hitting and running, because you got a guy that can handle the bat up there in Zobrist. McAllister's going to be around the plate.
Yeah, the Indians were not all that good a year ago. There's a shot back into the right field corner. Sam Fuld being waved around. He will score standing up on the double. Ben Zobrist doubles into the right field corner, and the Rays take a 1-0 lead.
Well, nice job there by the Rays on a couple of different fronts. First of all, Ben Zobrist gets this ball. It leaks back over the plate. He's able to tomahawk it down into the corner. And then Tom Foley sending Sam Fuld all the way, and the throw by Stubbs. He overthrows Kipnis. You see Sam Fuld going. He knows that ball's down in the corner, and he's going to make a bid here. Foley sends him, but Jason Kipnis was actually out to cut that ball off. He threw it over his head, one-hop Nick Swisher, and he did not have a play.
Longoria now with a chance to add to the lead. Let's take a look at that throw again.
Here it is. He just turns and wings it. You see Kipnis there. Now Swisher's got to wait on it. Too late at that point.
0-2. Breaking pitch. Leadoff single by Fuld and the double by Zobrist, and the Rays lead 1-0. Fastball, a couple of breaking pitches, and then the fastball in.
Yeah, that ball was meant to be away. McAllister really jumped out there at Evan. Body got started too quickly. The arm was dragging. Pitch missed badly.
And a base hit up the middle. Down to third goes Zobrist. He'll have to hold there. Board up with it in short center field. Longoria waited on the breaking ball and stroked it through the middle.
Well, this is where McAllister's had his struggles the second time through the lineup. He's ahead of Longoria, and then again misses that location. He wants it down and away. That ball stayed right out over the middle, and Evan uses the middle of the field. Ben making sure that that line drive sees its way through the infield before he heads to third.
Now Matt Joyce. The Rays with a quick start here in the fourth. Swings through the fastball. Strike one. The Rays in a position to build a very productive inning right here.
Well, it started with Sam Fulton, 0-2, right back up the middle. Evan Longoria with 2 strikes, right back up the middle. Tremendous approach.
Into the dirt. It skips by Santana, but he gets a pretty good rebound, and Zobrist cannot come down the line. Longoria does move into second base. Wild pitch. Second of the night, charged to McAllister.
You're not kidding. I mean, this ball got yanked by McAllister. Santana really didn't have a chance. That ball ends up behind Matt Joyce. Fortunate he got that carom. That was what kept Ben Zobrist to third base.
Two and one.
Yeah, right now mechanically McAllister starting to rush towards the plate. That arm is dragging. And he's missing high in the zone, missing location on the wrong side of the plate. A little antsy.
And way up now. 3-1. And I would imagine, and you could speak to this, that a situation like this, guy gets a little amped up.
Oh yeah.
And when you talk about the game speeding up on somebody,
you're watching it.
Yeah.
This is exactly what is happening. Tangible evidence.
(3-1) the count. Joyce fouls the fastball. Got a good cut.
Yes, he did. And if McAllister, that pitch is a little further down in the zone where he probably wanted it, that ball may have been knocked out of here. That was just a little bit up. Matt Joyce not quite able to get on top of it. He had a nice pass at it.
And a little number back to the mound. McAllister gathers it and throws. The runners have to hold. And Joyce is retired. That's a very big out for McAllister, the way he's been struggling.
He really fell down on the count. 3-1. Got away with a 3-1 fastball that was out over the heart of the plate, and then gets Matt Joyce out in front with a little nub.
Well, Escobar's got a couple of men in scoring position.
And you know that he's going to come up there swinging.
Ground ball, shortstop. Cabrera is going to have to go to first as Zobrist crosses the plate. The Rays have run number 2. So contact. Cabrera back at short, took a little peek, but decided to go to first.
And you could actually see him thinking, because the ball got to him relatively quick, that one hopper off the bat of Escobar. Wisely, early portion of this game takes the out. But everybody in the park knew Escobar was coming up there swinging, including McAllister. That's why he started him with that slider.
James Loney with a man in scoring position. 2 outs now. And boy, here's a spot where if you could add that other run, it's really a lift for a team.
2-out run. Push that lead to 3. Not only good for the scoreboard, but good for the mental state of that dugout.
Up the left field line. Is that going to be fair? Just foul. Loney with a little slice to that one the other way and just outside the left field line.
James Loney has a nice inside-out swing. We saw him be able to get that by Manny Machado a few games ago up the third base line. Here he's making a big, just missing out. But he will use the whole field, and that's what makes him dangerous as a hitter.
Two balls and a strike. Loney's lifetime numbers with men in scoring position are pretty good. Over 290. In fact, over 300 coming into this year. His lifetime numbers 306 with men in scoring position. 2-2 count here with Longoria at second.
He's not one of those hitters that goes up to the plate trying to do too much. Very good situationally. A lot of times when you keep it simple and just think put the barrel on the ball, you're going to find a hole.
Fouls it. Forcing another pitch. McAllister pushed a little bit here in the fourth inning, over 20. It into center. Michael Bourne makes the catch. So the Rays come up with two in the fourth inning. Double by Zobrist opened the scoring. He scored on a ground ball, and the Rays lead 2-0 through 4. And it's time for the Just for Man Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. One of these teams the last few years right back at each other. Longest active streaks of alternating wins and losses in a series. The Mets and the Angels are at 12-12, and the Rays and the Indians, look at that, 11. Boy, there was a time the Rays have fared much better recently against the Indians, but a few years ago when the Indians had those great clubs, it was a difficult place for the Rays to play in Cleveland, and the experience was not very pleasant for the Rays. First pitch here in the fifth inning to Mike Aviles is a strike from Matt Moore. 0-2. You don't have to go back that far. You know, the Indians at 07 won 96 games.
That was the year, too, that they were up 3-1 on the Boston Red Sox in the ALCS. That close. Roberto Hernandez won 19 games that year. So did CC Sabathia.
Fly ball into left. Sam Full takes care of that. One away. Well, this is our first Friday of the season at home, and that would find Todd Callis where? In the party deck.
Of course. Where else?
Of course.
The party deck. Everybody having a good time here. There's a group from Trinidad Tobago right here. They're called the Trinis. They're all going to University of Tampa, and there's 22 of them, all natives of Trinidad Tobago. How about that? But guys, we're not here to talk about that. Well, we kind of are. But we're talking about the wall cling. Evan Longoria wall cling. It's going to be given away on Sunday, and it's really cool for kids 14 and under. All these different items peel off, and they go up and stick on your wall, and the kids will really love this stuff. So there you go. This is Sunday's giveaway. Rays and the Indians wrapping up the series on Sunday. But right now, everybody up here in the party deck, University of Tampa, Trinidad Tobago, the Trinis are enjoying the night. Back to you. You can wave now. You're on.
All right, Todd, feel free to carry on. I know you will anyway. A ball, 2 strikes here to Drew Stubbs. That's his natural habitat.
It is. He's right at home. They've taken him in, the Trinis.
Stubbs out on strikes. He's 0 for 2. Caught looking his first time and swinging this time. Base is empty, 2 outs.
Just wish there would have been a baby to kiss.
Oh, we'll see that later. Michael Bourne. One strike. Bourne is 2 for 2. There's a single and a double. It's 1-1. Bourne, a close connection with the former Ray, Carl Crawford. Bourne's father, Ray, had a big influence on Carl Crawford playing the game when he was a young man, and coached for years a travel team of good young baseball players, and Michael, of course, a big part of that. And Ray spotted Carl Crawford early. And they both very fast. They were a competitive couple of teammates there, and it turned out to be pretty close.
How about the ground those two could cover?
Chop right side. Johnson. 1, 2, 3 go the Indians, and a nice quick inning for Matt Moore after the Rays took the lead. Rays coming into bat in the bottom of the 5th. 2-0 Tampa Bay. brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. Available at Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. And by Checkers. Feast on. Say Lobatone takes the first pitch here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and it's a high fastball. Lobatone, then Kelly Johnson and Desmond Jennings. Lobatone picked up the first hit for the Rays, and he lined a double. And one hopped the wall down the right field line. 2-1. Well, you can see the progression of McAllister in pitch count and varying command as this game has progressed.
Once he started to get into trouble mechanically, he started to get a little out of whack. Body heading towards home plate a little too early, spinning off towards first base and leaving a lot of balls up. When you do that, these Rays hitters have been selective enough to lay off of them, force them to work, and all of a sudden the numbers have shot up.
Lobatone fouls the fastball. You'll see another 3-2 pitch. Kelly Johnson hitting 9th and playing second base is on deck. Hopper, third base side. Avila's after it. So that's the first out here. McAllister warming up had difficulty with his command. How about that one? And then when it came time to make the peg to second base, Santana had a little command issue. How about that?
Sloppy. Well, in McAllister's defense, that was a curveball. And that's one of those ones that can spin out of there and just lose the grip. But Santana let one flutter into center field.
Strike the count to Johnson. One. Center field, and Bourne is there to catch it. But Michael Bourne kept track of that one all the way. It got up there in the vicinity of the rings, and he said it wasn't easy, but he made the catch.
Michael Bourne, you look at him right there trying to find it. We've seen that from a lot of opposing players coming in here, especially ones who don't or haven't logged that many innings of play here. Real easy to lose the ball in the roof here. Found it eventually.
Jennings takes a strike. He said, I got it. I got it. I think I got it. I got it. I got it. Two curveball there, and he missed it by plenty. 2 strikes. Ball and 2 strikes. Kansas City beat Philadelphia 13-4. Wade Davis started for Kansas City, left after 4 down by 4. And Kansas City came roaring back to win it 13-4.
That didn't sound right. Didn't say Kansas City and Philadelphia already.
Yeah.
Much like the Angels opening up in Cincinnati.
Yeah, that really didn't sound right. Foul back now. In that Kansas City win, Chris Getz and Alex Gordon each had bases loaded triples.
Well, that'll fatten the RBI line in a hurry.
They're trying to They're trying to catch Chris Davis. I'm not sure anybody's going to do that. Full count. Well, Jennings was down 0-2, and here he is 3-2 now. We've seen that repeatedly with Desmond Jennings throughout the spring and here in the first few games of the regular season. Down to third off the glove of Aviles, and Jennings is aboard. Ball trickling toward Cabrera, but he had no chance to throw him out.
A quality at bat there for Desmond Jennings after falling down early. He comes back. He hit this ball hard. Aviles just couldn't handle it. Right off the thumb.
It's an error charge to the Indians' third baseman. But even though you get down, and he really got down, he missed strike 2 badly, but battled, and now he keeps the inning going. Here's Sam Fuld.
Here's where you look for him to go.
And a strike.
Talked about it earlier. McAllister 18 out of 19. Opposing base runners were successful against him last year. 2 outs. Desmond on first. Perfect time to go.
Pitch up. 1-1. McAllister trying to be a little quicker.
Yep, and when you start to try to be a little bit quicker, if you're not mechanically sound, the ball starts to fly around again. It's been much better out of the windup than the stretch tonight.
Starting to stop by Jennings. Ball 2. 2-1. Line drive and a base hit into right for Sam. Jennings will motor to third. First and third now. And the Rays put a little something together here and threaten with 2 outs. Getting down into the third spot, coming in the order with Ben Zobrist due.
Well, Sam Fuld in a 2-1 count. Fastball right out over the plate. He just hammers it into right field. Desmond Jennings off and running on contact. He's able to hustle over to third.
Ricky Callaway heads to the mound, the Indians pitching coach.
This is just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Well, Ben Zobrist opened the scoring for the Rays when he doubled home Fuld in the 4th inning. Then he bats again in the 5th inning with Fuld at first and Jennings at third. It's low. Curveball.
Better job there by Santana making that block. We saw one get by him earlier. Wasn't in the proper position. That time he was with the runner on third.
Sam Fuld over there with his second hit. Jennings battled his way through an 0-2 count, worked it full and reached on the error. Strike down around the knees, a breaking pitch. That might have been the message from Callaway here with Zobrist.
Here it is. Keeps it down and away.
And a liner up the right side. That ball's going to be in there. Fair ball and bounce to the wall. 1 run is scored. Fuld heads to the plate. The throw not in time, and the Rays scored 2 to take a 4-0 lead on the double by Ben Zobrist.
Go back to the Desmond Jennings at bat.
Yep.
2 outs, down 0-2 in the count. He works it back full.
Able to reach out in air, keep the inning going. And now look. Ben Zobrist gets another mistake. Changeup out over the plate.
Well, they stayed off speed against Zobrist. A couple of breaking balls in the changeup, and Ben now with 3 RBIs tonight.
He just continues to get it done. We talked about his hot start coming into this game.
Evan Longoria, the hitter. That's strike 1.
An awful lot of these pitches by McAllister finding their way into bad areas for him. That changeup right there was out over the plate. And then
Sam was getting down early. Coming to the plate. McAllister's made a lot of pitches here in the last couple innings. 23 in the 4th, and this pitch coming will be his 26th in this inning. And a long one, but foul.
that ball
2.
was crushed. Wow. Well, Evan, he's got that upright stance, slightly open. He's very, very quiet at the plate. He's got ultra quick hands. He can get to that ball in the inner half. A little too quick there.
And a called strike on the outside corner. A fastball that slipped over the edge. The Rays add a couple. We're through 5, and it's 4-0 Tampa Bay. Zobrist has had a lot to do with it. He opened the scoring with a 4th inning double. The Rays added another run in that inning. And then in the 5th, another double. This one up the right field line off the changeup. Chasing home 2 more. And Matt Moore, through 5 innings, has picked up 6 strikeouts and has a 4-run lead.
Matt Moore has been very, very good with all of his pitches.
First pitch to open the 6th inning to Asdrubal Cabrera is a little wide with a fastball.
Really started right out of the gate with his fastball, able to use it to both sides of the plate effectively.
Catches the strike zone with 1 right there. It's 1-1. Puts him ahead in the count.
Well, Matt Moore, too, not wasting any time. Get the ball, get right back up on the mound, stay in a nice, good rhythm.
And he went after that one. He strikes out Cabrera.
Well, that's what Matt Moore is able to do when he pounds the zone and gets ahead of hitters. His stuff is electric. All three pitches have been pretty good tonight. Fastball has led the way, but here's a changeup. And even though this ball is kind of fading off the plate, or actually it was a fastball tailing off, but you get guys chasing and get down to the count. He can afford to do that.
Kipnis. He takes a strike, a fastball. 1-1.
You work quick, you throw strikes, you put the hitter on the defensive, and then start to expand the zone for you.
Yeah, that the fastball that he got Cabrera with did have more of a change-up movement to it.
Well, that's what fooled me. That's where I got fooled. I mean, that ball really took off, had a lot of run. Not traditional sink, but just shot off the plate. Cabrera just couldn't hold up.
3-1 count on Jason Kipnis. Kipnis hit the ball to the wall in center field in the first when Jennings caught it, and then struck out in the third. Looper toward left center field. Sam Fuld closes and makes the catch on the run. Sam Fuld out of left field to his left and in makes the catch. 2 away.
Sam closing quickly. You know, we talk an awful lot about Desmond Jennings and his routes and jumps. Sam Fuld the same way. Plays the game hard all the time. Tremendous speed, tremendous outfielder.
There's Nick Swisher. Matt Moore strikeout on a curveball in the fourth. A popper. It's a foul ball headed toward the seats. So the count goes to 1-1. Well, he's at 97 pitches now, 2 outs into the 6th. And it's going to be a topic about this Rays rotation for a while as they try to get their proper innings and keep a pitch count down to enable them to get deep into games. The Rays last year got so many innings out of Shields and Price. Those two averaged right around 7 innings to start. So they need a couple more outs and outing from Moore and Pellickson and Cobb. Did he go? Oh, he held up. That was close. It's Dale Scott down there on the call.
Matt Moore coming here with the curveball. Swisher, let's see. Right at the borderline.
Two. He got him looking there. And Swisher unhappy. Strikeout number 8. Bottom of the 6th coming. 4-0 Tampa Bay.
The 6th inning, Rays with a transaction before the game today as Jeff Neiman is placed on the disabled list. And Brandon Gomes, who had a great spring training for the Rays, is activated from AAA Durham. Gomes found out about the move last night with the team getting rained out in Norfolk. And here's Jeff Neiman talking about the issue with his shoulder.
Well, it was really, started getting really sore after the first day of the season, and it's unfortunate to say, but just got to a point where it's one of those things we couldn't really overcome, and it just got to, it just wasn't where we wanted to be. So it's unfortunate we have to go on the DL this early, but just taking it day by day right now and just seeing what tomorrow brings.
And guys, a whole different preparation level for Jeff Neiman. Normally used to that every 5 days as a starter. Just didn't quite feel right getting ready each day as a reliever, so he goes on the DL. And Brandon Gomes, who really did earn a spot this spring, but kind of in that numbers game, back with the Rays. Back upstairs we go.
Yeah, you're right about Gomes. It's unfortunate for Jeff Neiman, but Gomes had such a great spring, and was naturally disappointed that he was headed to Durham, but very seldom, well, never do you use just the 25 men that you break camp with. Kipnis takes care of Joyce on the ground ball, and that's how the Rays look at it, and really every club has to look at it that way. You're not playing with just 25 guys that you leave camp with. You're playing with your entire organization, and the Rays make a point of trying to build depth, particularly pitching depth.
Well, that's where you got to tip your hat to the guys. And he wasn't down there very long, but that's why it's so important that you feel like you did earn a spot or pitch well enough to be there, and you get sent down. You've got to maintain a positive mindset when you go down there. You can't go down feeling sorry for yourself. You can't go down, angry and let that affect your performance down there, because then you might put yourself behind the 8 ball and not get up for a while. The thing about it is, this organization, these players, they understand it, especially on the pitching end of things. Too many good arms.
Well, Chris Archer is a good example of that. Their opener was rained out in Norfolk last night, but Chris Archer will pitch to the top of that rotation at Durham. 2-2 the count to Escobar. They've got Alex Colomé down there, and Montgomery, they got him in the deal with Kansas City, and Odorizzi's there, and Alex Torres will round out their rotation. So that's a pretty good rotation down there. And so far tonight, Chris Archer through 5 has given up a run, 3 hits, and Will Myers 1 for 3 with an RBI double. They're up 6-1 versus Norfolk. Count is full now. It's Jake McGee up in the Rays bullpen. The Rays have 6 innings and 100 pitches from Matt Moore. Fly ball to right. Stubbs handles the Escobar fly ball. 2 gone. And here is James Loney. Loney 0 for 2, a couple of fly balls to center. This next pitch from McAllister will be number 100. The count is 0-2. And 2. Boston's leading Toronto in the top of the 6th, 4-3. Loney is out on strikes. 1-2-3 go the Rays. We're through 6, 4-0 Tampa Bay.
Strong innings. Rays lead it here 4-0 as we head into the 7th. Let's take one more look at today's AT&T social media poll. How many games will Matt Moore win this season? Hashtag TB1, 15 or more. Hashtag TB2, 13 or 14. Hashtag TB3, 11 or 12. Or hashtag TB4, 10 or less. You can tweet your vote to @SunSportsRays. Let's take a look at what Matt was able to do right from the get-go. Had that good low-riding fastball going, really set the tone. And then all of a sudden introduced the curveball, the changeup, continued to pound the zone, and Matt Moore was terrific. Finished his outing by retiring the last 8 men that he faced, 4 via the strikeout. Got stronger as the game went along, gave up just the 2 hits.
So an impressive line and a very good outing for Matt Moore. Gives way to Jake McGee. And McGee's first pitch is a strike, a fastball at 96. Michael Brantley struck out and walked. On the left field side, that's a foul ball. Just foul. C.B. Buckner on the call. Brad Mills checking with him just to ask him if he was absolutely sure. And of course he was.
At this point you have to be. Again, it goes back to selling it. Conviction.
That's it. One and two. Well, Matt Moore's performance, very encouraging. You know, he threw the ball well his last time in the spring against Detroit, and he has a very nice performance here. He had 1 or 2 little times when things could have gotten away from him tonight, but he didn't allow that. That's encouraging. Johnson at second handles the ground ball, 1 away.
Well, he had those 2 walks, and they were the quick walks. They, you know, where it can maybe start to snowball on you and bleed into the next hitter. You put yourself in a bad count, and he takes advantage of it. But you're absolutely right. One time, Jose Lobaton went out there and talked to him, got him right back on the right path. And the second time, he just did it himself. Very encouraging outing. And Matt Moore, who stated that he wanted to get off to a quick start and put this slow starter moniker to bed. Certainly did that tonight.
Rays put the shift on for Carlos Santana. A couple of ground ball outs for Santana tonight. And that's a strike. Todd Tishner is calling the balls and strikes. One down around his feet. Evans asking Buckner if he thought that he passed his home rush yesterday. Got it on him there. Escobar takes care of that. So Santana is out number 2.
Well, David Price's stellar 2012 season earned him the American League Cy Young Award. Watch him defend his title throughout the season. And this Saturday, April the 6th, it's tomorrow, the first 20,000 fans will receive a David Price Cy Young figurine presented by the Tampa Bay Times.
Bases empty, 2 gone. Couple of ground ball outs. Mark Reynolds swings through it. Strike 1. Just a little late movement on it. 2 home runs for Reynolds. And one of those was a game winner Wednesday against Toronto. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Reynolds is an all or nothing hitter, and he's very, very streaky. I mean, he can get hot and carry you for a month. Had a really good second half last year for the Orioles and their drive to the playoffs. Finds himself here in Cleveland.
Ooh, that pitch looked pretty good. Fastball missed, and the count is 3-1.
Take a look at it. Jake McGee with that boring fastball.
And that's going to be a strike. Caught the corner. Reynolds thought it was off the plate, so the count goes to 3-2.
Now, this one was close also. Gets that call.
Chopper. Ball stays down. Johnson makes the pickup as they had to shift on for him. So it's a 1-2-3 inning. 7th inning stretch time here at Tropicana Field. Rays lead 4-0.
Lead at 4-0, and here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Alex Cobb will be making his 2013 debut. Indians broadcaster Rick Manning will sit down with Todd Callis. Now that is a power interview right there with those two, and maybe I'll break down that interview.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to break it down. New pitchers, Brian Shaw. Lobatone fouls it away.
Here's what I want to know. How in
Rick
the
Manning.
world, were we able to land a star like Rick Manning? Already getting into the mode to sit down with Todd. Knows it's going to be a tough interview.
Yeah, he takes it very seriously. Maybe he just got the news. That's his reaction.
I'm doing what? With who? Who's this Callous character?
Is this going to be some kind of cross-examination? He's kidding because I don't recall replies ready. There's a shot the other way toward the left field line, toward the corner. Lobaton digs for two, and he is out at second base. Lobaton trying to stretch it into a double. Kipnis putting the tag on it.
I'll tell you what, Jose Lobaton, as he rounded first base, a little bit of an awkward turn as he sees this ball go down. Watch him, he almost cuts it too early and then has to redirect himself. That costs just a little bit of time. Not able to get in.
So that's the first out, a base hit, and out trying to stretch it into a double. 1-0 to Kelly Johnson.
Also looked like he tried a new form of sliding. It was almost like a no-look slide.
Yeah, he still has yet to get to the bag.
All right. He did. All that effort.
Yeah.
Well, the hitting was good.
Yep. He's 2 for 3 tonight. One and two, and no ice cream for getting thrown out in second base, though.
Never.
Ground ball right side, scooped by Swisher. Shaw takes the toss. 2 outs. Two away, and Desmond Jennings will bat with the bases empty. Jennings reached on an error and scored a run in the 5th. That's a strike. There's Brandon Gomes up in the Rays bullpen. Just joining the team after Jeff Neiman has gone to the disabled list. 1-1.
See Shaw able to sweep that breaking ball. It's a nasty pitch. It covers a lot of ground.
And so Jennings is out on strikes. We're going to head into the 8th with the Rays leading 4-0. Rays lead 4-0. On to the 8th inning we go, and the right-hander Brandon Gomes enters the game.
Don't waste any time. Brandon Gomes added to the roster immediately in the game. A tremendous spring.
He's healthy again. First pitch to Avila, he's popped up out in front of the plate. Lobaton makes the call, and he's got it. One pitch, one out.
Come cheer on David Price at his next start. That will be this Sunday against Cleveland Indians and be part of the craziest new fan section in Tampa Bay, District K9. Especially Price ticket includes a lower level seat, a District K9 t-shirt, and a K card. Purchase tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com/District K9.
Drew Stubbs, the hitter. It's a strike. Couple of strikeouts for Stubbs tonight. Called out on a breaking ball in the 3rd. Struck out swinging in the 5th. Down 0-2 here in the 8th inning. Rays scored 2 runs in the 4th, 2 runs in the 5th. All charged to McAllister, 4 runs, 2 earned on 6 hits in 6 innings. And there's strike 3. Stubbs out. Strikeout number 9 for Rays pitching. Jake McGee threw 3 ground balls in the 7th. And here's the strikeout of Stubbs by Gomes.
Gomes, good location throughout, and Stubbs saw everything. Saw the breaking ball. Saw a lot of good location. Gomes makes quick work of him.
Michael Bourne. Fastball for a strike. In again, boy, I'll tell you, Gomes. So another of the strikes here.
Sharp. Well, that first pitch fastball down and away, and it comes with the backdoor breaking ball with some sharp tilt to it.
Just a bit away.
Well, he's just mixing them up too. Fastball, breaking ball, split, the same combo that he used with Stubbs.
Peralta up in the bullpen now. And that one stays a bit wide.
Well, it was not for a lack of effort by Jose Lobaton to get that ball a little bit closer to the plate as he framed that pitch. The Rays catchers worked so hard to try to get extra strikes for the pitching staff.
Oh, pretty close, but down. And the count is full.
Breaking ball had plenty of plate just below the zone. Or not.
And ground ball right side into the glove of Kelly Johnson and over to Loney. Bottom of the 8th coming. The Rays lead 4-0.
Rays and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Sam Fuld opens the home half of the 8th with the Rays leading 4-0. Sam's been a big part of this with a couple hits and 2 runs scored. He led off the 4th when the Rays broke a scoreless tie. He's ahead in the count 2-0. Brian Shaw came on in relief of Zach McAllister. Shaw worked the 7th. And he's behind Fuld here to open the bottom of the 8th. It's now 3-0. Three-one. On the corner. It's now 3-2. And a cut and a miss. So Sam Fuld out on strike. Second strikeout now for Shaw. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. We'll break down Matt Moore's performance tonight. Look in on Joe Maddon's pressure. And Kelly Nash with interviews from the clubhouse. All of that coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Ben Zobrist. Ben is 2 for 3 tonight. Driving in 3 runs, 2 doubles. One and one. Breaking ball lifted into short center. LeBourne makes the catch. 2 outs. Bases will be empty, and Evan Longoria strides to the plate. Evan is 1 for 3. Same 2 teams tomorrow. Alex Cobb will pitch for the Rays. Trevor Bauer for the Indians. David Price works here on Sunday. That's a strike. He'll be opposed by the right-hander Justin Masterson. Two strikes the count to Evan. Alex Cobb and Brandon Gomes, a little conversation going in the dugout. We'll see Alex make his first start, coming off a good year last year.
Looking forward to that. Alex Cobb, another one of those Rays pitchers. Good stuff. Attacks hitters. He keeps it simple.
He's got a bulldog mentality out there, and he's fun to watch pitch. He really is.
He competes. He competes.
Longoria's out on strikes, and the Rays are up and down 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. On to the 9th we go. 4-0 Tampa Bay. Sun Sports is brought to you by Just for Men Auto Stop is foolproof. Gray is over. The gong at the ready. We go to the ninth. 4-0. Rays lead this game. Fernando Rodney still down there in the bullpen. Rays leading by 4, and Joel Peralta will enter this game. The fourth Rays pitcher. Moore for 6, McGee for 1, Gomes for 1, and now Peralta. Here's another guy who's been fun to watch for the Rays.
Another battler.
Yep.
I mean, he's not going to blow you away with stuff, but boy, he comes right after you.
I mean, you get the feeling that he could pitch 364 days in a row, and he's ready for number 365.
Yeah, he knows exactly what's going to be expected of him coming into a season, and gets himself ready for it and enjoys it with a smile.
1-1 to count. Cabrera officially 0 for 2. He sacrificed his first time. One and 2.
Well, you talk about execution of a backdoor breaking ball. You can't throw it any better than that.
Rodney loosely down the right field line. Into the dirt.
Needed a cutoff man.
And the Rays encouraged by Matt Moore's performance. Ben Zobrist continues to get off to a good start at the plate. Sam Cole with a couple hits tonight. 2 runs scored. And that's strikeout number 10 for Rays pitching. Cabrera missing the split finger. And that's out number 1 in the ninth.
Peralta comes right back, gets that pitch to the spot that he wants, and gets Cabrera way out in front. Everybody gets fed.
Jason Kipnis. 1-0. So you're going out for pizza now. 10 strikeouts.
It sounds like it. Courtesy of Joel Peralta closing the deal. Are we eligible for that? I don't think we're eligible for that.
We talked to that guy.
With the hat.
Yeah.
It's a game going on.
Foul ball out of play. 2-1. Just letting the pictures tell the story there.
He's very happy with that flag.
Yeah.
And the hat.
And the hat. Well, not much to be said beyond just observing that hat. Two and 2. Peralta worked an inning in the game Wednesday when the Rays defeated Baltimore 8-7. And there's strike 3 call. He slipped the fastball in there on Kipnis that time. And the Rays have 11 strikeouts.
Yeah, and Kipnis not happy at all. This was the Joel Peralta, the quick pitch, where he doesn't even hardly come set. Watch him right here. Just continues on. Completely catches Kipnis flat-footed. And he had some words for Peralta as he walked away from home plate.
Nick Swisher. Swisher 0 for 3 with a couple strikeouts. 0-1. There will be some strikeouts, as we mentioned, in this Cleveland lineup, but it also has a chance to be much more productive than they've been. It could be an interesting lineup.
But they definitely have that explosion component where you can see them getting on a run through the lineup and doing some damage in a hurry. A lot of different ways to attack opposing pitchers. Talking about the power and the speed. You're right, they will strike out, but
Two and one. Well, I'll tell you, they have not had a base runner since Brantley walked with one out in the 4th inning. Moore finished by retiring the last 8 he faced. Perfect inning for McGee. Perfect inning for Gomes. Peralta gets a strike here on Swisher to run the count to 2-2. Peralta has struck out the first 2 he's faced, and now back 2-2 on Swisher.
yeah, everybody has been extremely sharp tonight.
Close. Full count.
Very close. This was a split and it stayed up. Just out of the zone according to Fox Facts. You see where that ball crossed. Way up around the letters.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Ground ball left side. And the throw to first in time, and this one is over. Rays win it. It's a 4-0 combination. 2-hit shutout. And Longoria, the lone man on the left side of the infield with Swisher up there, took care of the final out with a toss across to James Loney. And the Rays are 2-2 on this young season, and a very nice job by the Rays pitching staff to spin this combination shutout, a 2-hit shutout, and the Rays take game 1 4-0. We promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And on the offensive side of things, Ben Zobrist has another good night. A couple of 2 base hits.
Ben Zobrist came into this game 5 out of 11. And does the damage here. That was that inning started by Sam Bull with 2 outs. 0-2 count, getting a base hit up the middle. Rays tacked on. They scored enough. Ben Zobrist continues his hot start to 2013.
Ben had a good series against Baltimore. Carries that over into the first game of the series against the Cleveland Indians. Todd is standing by with Ben right now.
Thanks, Dwayne. Ben, we've talked this season at various times about how